Hello everybody and welcome back to your daily dose of Path of Exile 2. We're using our frozen Boomstick mercenary today to clear out a map. But primarily we're just going to be kind of talking about, we're getting pretty close to where the developers are supposed to release a new update to the game, and I would like to talk a little bit about what I would like to see. The biggest thing I think that we should see in the next The biggest thing I believe we should see in the next update should be a completion of the campaign, not just an update, not just one new area. We should see the rest of the campaign. I don't want to have to do any more repeating of content to get through the campaign portion of the game. I want to be able to just play and get through the story, and that's it. Because after having done many characters already, to the point where it's like, I've done a lot of different characters since the game came out. Is there a reason we're not shooting? That's annoying. Having done a bunch of different characters at this point, I'm really tired of doing Acts 1 through 3. A lot. I'm really tired of doing Acts 1 through 3. So I'm ready to move on to having more story to do. I would much rather have that than a new character class if I have to... Oh my god, that's just... I don't understand what's going on here. I do not understand what's going on here. There is something that's hitting me that is just completely one-shotting me, and I don't know what it is. Thought I had more hit points than that. So yeah, I'm more or less, I'm ready for some new storyline for the game. I know people are going to be worried about in-game content and all that stuff. I get it, but I don't know, man. There's no amount of in-game content that they're going to be able to add that's going to make it so that we just don't get bored after, a certain amount of time. So oh, come on, let me move around. I really wish that it was possible to turn certain things off. I really have no interest in having these empowered rares. Like, it's bad enough that you have to I really don't have patience for this kind of shit. I really don't. Random things that just come in and prevent you from continuing. Random things that just come in and prevent you from continuing. Anyways, I've been trying to make a point, but I keep getting interrupted because we get an empowered rare that just decides it's going to, just completely demolish me. Anyways, what I'm trying to get at is that I know people are like, we want more stuff in the end game, but it's like, no matter how much they put into the end game, you're never going to get to a point where it's just, you don't get bored with it, You're gonna, what they need to do is, rather than new in-game content, they need to focus on really streamlining the existing in-game content to the point where, you can kind of just zone out and do it for a while. I think the reason why a lot of people get tired, or, they get tired of dealing with in-game is that it gets a little bit obnoxious, which causes you to pay attention to how long it's taking you to get these things done. Whereas if they have it set up in a way that allows you to just kind of zone out and just do the work, how like when you're at work and you're doing a bunch of stuff and you're like, you look up and 2 or 3 hours have passed by, and you put on some music, and the time just kind of goes by fast, and you're not really paying attention to it. That's kind of what I'm getting at when I talk about in-game. Like, I don't want in-game to be in-game should have challenges. The in-game itself should not be a challenge. It should be something that encourages you to just hop on, zone out for an hour or 2 or 8 or however long it is that you want to obsess over it, and then log out and you're done. And yeah, you got a bunch of stuff done, but it didn't require you to, like, this idea of, like, engaging, and I've said this since the beginning, you cannot make a video game engaging 100% of the time. Because no matter how good anything is, you're going to get bored with it after a while. You are going to get bored with it. It's just the way that we work. It's the variation in things that makes things engaging. You come across something new and you're like, ooh, that's cool. This is really awesome. But then inevitably it wears off, and then you're back to being like, well, okay, where's the next new thing? Now, the thing that makes games like this, the things that make games like ARPGs with their, endless loot grinding, the thing that makes them playable is being able to just kind of zone out and do repetitious activity over and over and over again, right? It's the feeling of, it's that feeling of, it's not the feeling of the actual gameplay that keeps you coming back. I'm not even gonna bother with this because 32 packs of monsters is ridiculous. And you only get like one rare out of that, or one unique out of that. It's not the actual gameplay in a game like this that actually makes you want to continue playing for long periods of time. It's feeling like you're putting time into something, you're investing your time into something that's giving you a return, and not necessarily requiring too much from you, right? Like you want to be able to just kind of zone out, and the way that you do that is by making it so that the game is engaging enough, but doesn't require so much of your attention and skill that, you know, you can't just kind of zone out and let the time pass. Because if you're constantly aware of how much effort you're putting into something, you're going to start paying attention. How long have I been doing this? I'm getting kind of tired of messing with this. I just want to be done now, right? But then at the same time, you don't want the last epoch issue where it's so easy that it doesn't feel like you're actually doing anything. So I said in my other last epoch episode that I just did that I feel like Path of Exile 2, as far as like just general combat in general, has the right formula. When you're fighting, when you're just going through maps and stuff like that, and you don't come across random combinations of things that just, you know, feel like a brick wall sometimes. You know, like we just ran into, we had that stupid thing where the rare got empowered to the point where I just, one or two hits killed me. Like right now what we're doing, well, except for that, right now what we're doing, if you, this like, what we're experiencing right now, just kind of blasting through things, you still have to kind of pay attention a little bit. Like, you can't just stand there and not do anything. You got to move around, you got to try to dodge stuff. You can't just let things wander into you and you know, there's no consequences to it. But for the most part, if you're halfway paying attention at all, you're gonna blast through everything and everything's gonna die. And like what we're doing right now at this specific part of the map is how it should feel all the time, all the way through until you get to the boss. Then if you're doing a map that doesn't have a boss on it, then you should be confident in the idea, well, I'm just not going to die. We're you know, as long as I'm halfway paying attention, we're not going to die. We're not going to have any issues. We're just going to get through this crap and move on to the one that actually does have it. This idea that, you know, they want to make the game as a whole super engaging, like meaningful combat. The whole term meaningful combat, I've said ever since I first heard the term, it's just like, the only way combat can be meaningful is if it's something that you built up to, and then, you know, like, games back in the day had meaningful combat because you look, how do I put this into words? You would go through levels and stuff, and this is something that was articulated by another content creator a while back. I'm trying to remember who it was, but I agree with the sentiment. You would work your way through a level or something like that. You would be fighting monsters that kind of taught you something, and then you would take the skills you learned during the level and fight the boss, which was like the final test of, did you learn what you were supposed to learn as you went through the level, right? Ow. I'm gonna try to blast this guy down. Come on, just die, just die. There we go. Alright. Sorry, I'm just trying to pick up all the stuff here. What I'm getting at is that, see what I mean? That right there, it's the random bullshit that makes this game really annoying. It's a random like, you stop paying attention for 2 seconds and then something comes in right at the wrong moment. That's the kind of stuff that makes this game irritating to play. I have no problem if I'm in the middle of an intense battle and I'm not paying attention and something comes in and just kind of just like takes away most of my life. That's at least reasonable. So what I'm getting at is that the reason why this game tends to be pretty frustrating is that too many times things come out of nowhere with no reasonable way to expect that it's coming, and then all of a sudden you're just dead. And that doesn't feel good to play. Like, I understand that some people are going to say, well, you know, in real life, sometimes things come out of it. Like, I understand your point doesn't apply here. This is a video game. It's not supposed to be real life. It's supposed to be fun. It's supposed to be an escape from all of the bullshit that we have to put up with in real life. I have no problem with there being challenges in a game, being significant challenges in a game. I have no problem with there being content that you're required to bust your ass to get to. But that stuff should be towards the end of the game, and it should be something that, you know, most players can get through most of the game with a reasonable amount of effort. And then if you want to do the really hardcore stuff, then you put the time in after you've gone through all the other stuff. Tier 15 maps, you know, I know some people are going to say, well, you're at tier 15 maps, and it's like, I still kind of disagree. Like, we should be able to get to the point where we're able to get through all of the basic, like, tier 15 maps is still part of the basic content of the game. And you should reasonably be able to get through the basic content of the game without requiring any significant investment in crazy amounts of time or crazy amounts of skill or crazy amounts of practice. Like, the end game bosses should be the thing that the hardcore crowd are really trying to go after, right? Maps should just be something where you're logging on and you're just zoning out for a little while. To a certain degree. You should still have to pay attention. I don't want it to be like Last Epoch where you just blindly walk through maps and nothing ever happens to you. There needs to be a little bit of a feeling of, you know, a little bit of a feeling of danger, but it should be easily managed danger. And then you get to the part where you fight the boss, and now you're like, okay, now I got to really pay attention because we got a boss here. We got to fight him. So my thought process is twofold. I know I went off on a really long tangent, but when it comes to what I want to see in the game coming up, I want to see the rest of the campaign ready to go. I really don't want to see anything else if we're not like, if the only thing we get is the rest of the campaign, that's enough for me, because I'm really tired of having to level up twice through the campaign every single time. That really sucks. But then number two, a rebalancing of the game that makes it so that you don't get these random spikes in difficulty out of nowhere. Because I know some people are going to think, well, it's it makes it interesting. I myself have talked about the contrast. The contrast is what makes things interesting, and I agree. But the contrast needs to be predictable. It needs to be at least able to be somewhat anticipated, not just, oh, you're just kind of chugging along and then all of a sudden, boom, you're dead. Like, that's not fun. The contrast needs to be, oh man, we're coming up on a boss. I need to start getting myself, all right, let's start focusing. Okay, here's the hard part. That's the fun. That's fun. Because at least then, when you die, you're expecting that you die. You could possibly die. You're not just running through and killing a bunch of trash mobs, and then all of a sudden you just get super unlucky, and some combination of things hits you and you're dead. And especially once you start getting up into the level 80 area, like, that's a massive experience point penalty when you just die out of nowhere for no reason. And I really should not have to be worrying about what modifiers are on maps, right? They should have an effect, but it shouldn't be something where I'm like, oh man, if I pick this map, it's going to completely brick my build and I'm not going to be able to finish it. Like, I disagree with that being something that we should have to worry about. You should be able to just grab any one of these, plop it in there, and any of your characters can get through the map, and then that's it, right? Unless you're starting to get into like these crazy ones that have like 5 or 6 modifiers on it. Then, okay, now you're choosing to, you know, put up with certain things, right? You're choosing to take a massive risk to get potentially more out of your stuff. But if I'm just walking through with a blue or even, you know, a 3 or 4 yellow map, I shouldn't have to worry about whether that I'm going to be able to get through that. That should be something where I can reliably get through it and not have to feel like I'm going to die. I should be able to reliably get through it without dying. I mean, obviously, you're going to get through the map with enough attempts. I shouldn't have to worry about dying unless I'm really pushing the maps to like 5 and 6 modifiers. And even then, you know, the chances of that happening if I'm paying attention should not be that much. So that's all I wanted to say. Finish the campaign and make maps more reliably. The difficulty curve for the maps needs to be much more reasonable. There should still be difficulty. There should still be extreme difficulty, but the extreme difficulty should be in very specific places where you choose to go there. It doesn't just happen to visit you. Because it's not fun to just kind of be in the groove and all of a sudden you just die for no reason. It's really irritating. So that's all I wanted to say, and that's all for this episode for the mats. Thank you very much for watching. Be sure to click the like button, subscribe to help us reach 10,000 subscribers, join as a member for early access to videos, among other perks, or you can just leave YouTube's version of a tip with that thanks button. I also have PayPal and Patreon links if you would prefer to contribute outside of YouTube. So again, thanks for watching. Be sure to come back for the next video, and I'll see you then.